Well, 30 years ago, I jumped on Concorde, British Airways Concorde, much against my best wishes, because he was travelling to New York to try to persuade him to come and join Virgin Radio, and we ended up being successful then. 30 years later, I was doing an interview with him on the Beeb, and I know I shouldn't have. It was maybe a slight discourtesy to the Beeb to steal one of their people.
BBC was forced to be open about its salaries. The BBC itself was worried about competitors seeing what people earned and then coming and sort of cherry picking. It has also created a big problem, of course, for BBC women, because they can finally see how their salaries match up to the men. What do you think about that openness about the salaries? Do you think that's one of the reasons that you were able to get Chris Evans back?
I have no idea what he earned at the BBC or even what he's earning at Virgin. I think he just wanted he wanted a change. Virgin Radio gives him a lot more freedom, I suspect, than he would have at the BBC. And Chris is somebody that I think would value freedom over salary. Yeah, so I think it's a great, fantastic for Virgin Radio. Virgin Radio is back in Britain, and I think that this will put it firmly on the map.
Richard, we can't not ask you about Brexit because it's the only thing anyone over here is talking about. You've taken a pretty strong view about this. You're a very vocal Remainer. As somebody who believes in freedom, believes in democracy, it's been the bedrock of your entire life. Do you not feel a little uneasy that the country voted, and it voted the opposite way to the way you would have liked, and the opposite way, indeed, to the way I would have liked it to, but that now there is a concerted effort to try and sort of overturn Brexit and almost pretend the referendum didn't happen? Do you not, as a freedom fighter to your bones, do you not feel a little uneasy that the democratic process may not be respected here?
What I feel is that what I felt ever since the referendum was that the British public were misled, and everything from, the buses promising vast amounts of money to the NHS, etc., and that none of us knew what was going to be negotiated. And once this negotiation is at a close, the British public should decide, whether or not they like what's on offer. We didn't know what was on offer during the referendum. We will know what's on offer in a few months' time. And I think what's going to be on offer is not going to be very nice for Britain. The GDP of Britain, we were the best in Europe. We've gone to the worst. And if Brexit happens, it will be a disaster for Great Britain. So I think it would be very, very, very unwise for business leaders and other leaders not to speak out when they can see people just shooting themselves in the foot.
If we had a vote, Richard,
and I think it would be a very sad day.
If we had a people's vote and it voted against and basically reversed the referendum, would you have any problem in principle if the Brexiteers then demanded a third vote, a sort of winner takes all? We won all, we then have another vote. Is there anything that would stop them having the right to ask for a third vote?
Well, I think that if there was another election, for instance, and in 5 years' time, a lot of the people who voted for Brexit wouldn't be around. Would be a lot more young people, and I think Brexit would not see the light of the day. Young people want to be able to live and work in Europe. They want to be able to travel where they want. They don't want to pay taxis every time they send goods to and from Europe, and I think overwhelmingly young people would come out in large numbers to make sure that they could stay part of Europe for generations to come. So I wouldn't be fearful if there was a further referendum in future years to come.
So, Richard,
I'm going to have to because I think Sam is here.
Sam.
Just going to give him one chance on Big Change's charity, the charity. Go on.
I can't hear because I don't have an earpiece in because it's not working. But anyway, look, good morning, everyone, and thank you for giving us some time. Big Change is a social impact accelerator that helps young people thrive in life, not just exams. And Strive is an amazing challenge to raise funds for big change, to really change the system for good in the UK, and hopefully create a much more connected and positive next generation, so we can have many more solutions to these problems that we're talking about today.
Well, great to speak to a brace of Bransons. It's great to see that the bloodline is alive and well and striving for ever greater things. So thank you both very much indeed, Richard and Sam.